Om Sadasivasamarambaam Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryentaam Vande Guru-paramparam. Om. Okay, Prasannaji, can you start reading from this Shaucham?
Yeah. Hari Om. Saucham. Saucham is cleanliness in a twofold sense. Bahya Saucha, external cleanliness, and Antara Saucha, inner cleanliness. Bahya Saucha is a well understood universal value. It is easy to see the benefit that comes to me and to others from external cleanliness. Clean body, clean clothes, and clean dwelling places make life more pleasant. In addition, the daily discipline of maintaining cleanliness brings about a certain attentiveness and alertness of mind. Antar Saucha is less well recognized. Antar Saucha is less well recognized. Antar Saucha means cleanliness of the Antahkarana, mind. What is Asaucha, uncleanliness of the mind? What makes a mind unclean? Jealousy, anger, hatred, fear, selfishness, self-condemnation, guilt, pride, possessiveness, all these emotions and the climate of despair and resentment which come in their wake are the unclean qualities of the mind. Every day while I go about my business, dust settles on my skin, dirt smudges on my clothes, my desk becomes littered, and in my transactions with people and circumstances, my mind gathers daily asaucha. Linked to my likes and dislikes, ragas and dveshas, smudges of envy settle, a spot exasperation lands, streaks of possessiveness appear, and overall the fine dust of self-criticism, guilt, and self-condemnation spreads in my mind. Each day I wash my body, launder my clothes, and straighten my desk. It is a day-to-day affair until death. Until my body goes, I must do this. It is the same with the mind. Each day until in the knowledge of the self, my false identification with the mind goes, my mind must be cleaned. When there is no daily cleaning outside or inside, the accumulation makes the task much more difficult. Shall I continue? Shamji.
Yeah, please do. We can do one topic each. So,
Okay.
please continue.
Oh, okay. Pratipaksha Bhavana, attitude to cleanse the mind. How can we clean the mind? What is the detergent for the mind? It is Pratipaksha Bhavana. Prati, a Sanskrit prefix, means opposite. Paksha stands for position or point of view. Bhavana indicates thinking or state of thought. Thus, Pratipaksha Bhavana means a state of mind with the opposite point of view. The practice of Pratipaksha Bhavana is to take deliberately the opposite point of view by an act of will to think the opposite of the unclean thoughts. I undertake this opposite thinking and act accordingly, even though I feel that my attitude is justified. Someone may do an improper action that insults or injures me. Resentment settles in my mind. The action may have been inarguably improper, but the resentment nonetheless is mine. It is asaucha of my mind. If I allow it to remain, the resentment can build up into hatred, a painful, disturbing mental state. When I see, therefore, the personal consequence of allowing asaucha to remain, when the object of resentment comes to my attention, I deliberately use my will to think of thoughts opposite to the negative ones that must come to my mind. Banish resentment by seeing the saint. When I see a person I resent or dislike, not disliked by everyone, when I deliberately search for the reason why others like him, I think of the positive facts that I know of the person, that he is kind to his children, that he cares for his parents, that he gives to charity, and so on. I call to mind the good things I know of him. When I look into any person, I'll find love. I am capable of loving. Any person is capable of loving. Even a person given to crime has within him the elements of love and sympathy. It may be that It may be that the criminal's capacity for love is so obscure that it only manifests itself in the sympathy he shows to himself when he accidentally bangs his thumb with a hammer, but it is there to be discovered. Manifest or not, everyone has the qualities of compassion, mercy, love, not hurting, and so on that makes one a saint. Therefore, to cleanse the mind of resentment and dislikes that solidify into hatred, I deliberately search for those things in another person that indicate his humanness, his saintliness. They are there in everyone. When you focus only on the glimpses of saintliness in another person, all the other traits you have observed in him are attributed merely to error, mistake, habit, wrong thinking, wrong environment, and wrong upbringing. You take it as your blessing that you are not in the same position that he is in. With the same percentage, the same environment, your own behavior would be what you object to in him. You see behind the acts the person possessed of all the saintly qualities because innately these qualities are the human qualities. Saintly qualities are the qualities of the self, the qualities that really constitute human nature. The opposite qualities are incidental, they come and go. When resentment, dislike, hatred towards someone arises, introduce thoughts that are their opposite. See the person behind the action from an opposite point of view, and you will discover in yourself some sympathy or understanding for that person. Your attitude will be one of shanti, accommodation towards him or her. In this manner, by deliberate, consistent practice, any resentment, any hatred that appears is erased, cleansed on a daily basis. Shall we continue? Shall I continue?
Yeah, please do this whole Shaucha thing. After that, next topic,
Oh,
next person can do like that.
oh. The asaucha of selfishness. Selfishness provides a good example of asaucha that yields to pratipaksha bhavana. In the case of selfishness, the pratipaksha bhavana thoughts often can be reinforced by action as well. When I see myself inconsiderate to the wants, needs, happiness of others, I can consciously program myself to overdo in the opposite direction. Making myself alert to the needs and happiness of those around me, I can find ways to be considerate. Whenever I can do something that will compensate some selfish omission or commission on my part, I do so. It not only settles and frees my mind from that account, but also underlines by deliberate action the attitude of unselfishness that I wish to develop. When a decision to change an attitude is well expressed physically, that is, confirmed by action, it is hard for the negative opposite attitude to register in the mind again. The asaucha of self-condemnation. Universal ethical values, consciously or unconsciously, remain as a matrix for self-judgment of any thought or action standards. Whenever I fail to abide by a general value, some conflict usually registers in my mind. Conflict becomes guilt, and guilt turns into an underground chorus of self-condemnation, asaucha subtly pervading my mind. It has to be scrolled down. Self-condemnation can be called as subtle asaucha because to many it is not apparent that self-condemnation is antar-asaucha, mental uncleanliness. In fact, those who are unaware of the truth of the self may regard self-condemnation as a useful goal to prod us to change our nature. This is not a correct or a useful understanding of ourselves or of the term self-condemnation. Condemnation of oneself cannot be justified any more than condemnation of others. Both rest upon the faulty understanding of the self. Both produce turmoil in the mind. Self-condemnation is controlled by Pratipaksha Bhavana, by refusing to condemn myself while at the same time deliberately thinking non-self-condemning thoughts. Analysis of nature of self will help me exercise Pratipaksha Bhavana. On analysis, I will always find that in this body-mind package, which I term I, the body that carries out the act cannot be condemned. The hands, the legs, the feet, the tongue, and all other parts of the body are inert, jada. The body itself lacks self-consciousness or independent will. Similarly, the senses and the various functions of the body are not independent conscious processes, performing their jobs indiscriminately, either automatically or upon direction from the mind. They cannot be held culpable. Neither can the mind be labeled the culprit. The mind is not a simple definable entity, but is an ever-changing aggregate of thoughts in motion, some beautiful, some not beautiful, and some useful, and some inconsequential. The mind that thought the thought which led to the act that I condemn is now the same mind that thinks the thought that condemns the mind that thought before. Thus, the mind is an aggregate of available thoughts at a given point of time, in a given point in time, in an ongoing process characterized by constant change. The mind is only a process that performs as a useful instrument. It cannot be condemned. Then, what can be condemned? Can Atma, the name for the first person singular I, be condemned? From the scripture Shruti, I know that Atma illumines the mind. Atma is Satchit Ananda, boundless, timeless awareness, fullness, form-free and action-free. Being neither the doer nor the enjoyer, neither a karta nor a bhokta, the Atma cannot be blamed. Therefore, what can I condemn? I can condemn just a given thought, neither my mind, nor my Atma. If there is anything that justifiably can be condemned, it is but a given thought born of ignorance and error, a thought that ordered an improper action. Thus, if self-condemnation is analyzed properly, and we inquire into what does what, the result will not be condemnation of the self, but condemnation, if any, of an act simply for what the act is, and of the particular error-born thought behind the act. Clearing away the self-condemnation leaves the mind free to discover as a personal value the ethical norm that has been transgressed. The socha of regret is removed. If I have done the act, there is regret. If a particular thought has done it, freed from the sorrow of regret, I can address myself to understanding what gave rise to the thought. In India, as small boys, each year on a special day, we used to repeat the following Vedic mantra 1008 times. Kamo Karishnamo Namaha, Kamo Karshit Kamaha Karoti Naham Karomi. Kamaha Karta Naham Karta, Kamaha Karayita Nahim Karayita, Esha Te Kama Kamaya Swaha. Desire did. Salutation to you, Lord Desire. Desire did, desire does, it is not I. Desire is a doer, not I. Desire causes the act, not I.
Okay, I think Prasanna, will you be able to read?
Desire, desire did, salutations to you, Lord Desire. Desire does, desire did, desire does, it is not I. Desire is not the doer, not I. Desire causes the act, not I. Salutations to you, desire. Manyu Rakara Rakarisin Namo Namaha. Manyu Rakarisin Manyu Karoti Nahan Nahan Karomi Manyu Karta Nahan Karta Manyu Karati Karayita Nahan Nahan Kara Nahan Karayita Esha Te Manyu Manyave Swaha. Anger did. Salutations to you, Lord Anger. Anger did, anger does, it is not I. Anger is the doer, not I. Anger causes the act, not I. Salutations to you, anger.
Hemantji, can you continue?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, repetition of this mantra, even though only once a year, is a wonderful thing because there is no self-condemnation in it. At the same time, I know I am aware that there were some actions that were not appropriate. I recognize that those actions had a certain basis in desire or a basis in anger. Anger is thwarted, desire Anger is thwarted, desire born of ignorance or conditioning. When I recognize the basis of an action, be it desire or anger, it makes my mind alert. Alertness helps to break the conditioning, therefore, thereby making the mind receptive to knowledge, and that dispels ignorance. The Ashocha of jealousy. In Sanskrit, jealousy is called Matsarya. Matsarya is defined as parok, paratkarsham drishtva jayamanaha santapaha. Drishtva, having seen utkarsham, the superiority of someone, santapaha, a pain or sadness, jayamanaha, that is born, is matsarya, jealousy. It is anguish, the pain that is born on seeing others' superiority or excellence. Of all asocha, jealousy is the most illegitimate of the attitude because even by the standards of relative world, it is unreal. Most of the reactive attitudes which are considered asocha are based on either the pursuit of or the threat, real or imagined, to some objective that is capable of being achieved, at least theoretically. It is it is not so with the jealousy. Jealousy is a reaction of sorrow over a lack which I conclude exists when I compare myself with other human being who is seen as superior. This supposed superiority, if it exists at all, when examined, would always be found as partial, incomplete. Upon close examination, the one who is jealous would never be able to consider the aggregation of parts and functions that constitute the entity, the object of jealousy, totally superior. If I am jealous, I will never be jealous of all aspects of another person. Nor will anyone be who is jealous of me find me totally superior. Since the endowments skill, grace, possession that inspire my jealousy cannot be separated from the entire entity. And since the entire entity will never totally be an object of my jealousy, there can be no real locus of jealousy for me. Jealousy has no ground at all, but at the level of body, mind, sense complex.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Jealousy has no ground at all, but at the level of body, mind, sense complex. No one except the Lord himself seems to escape this special pain. For a Gnanin who knows the truth of himself, who therefore does not identify with the body mind assemblage, there is no jealousy. A Gnani is not jealous because no second person exists. Thus, both the Gnanin who knows himself to be the non dual Brahman and the Lord, who is not only the totality of the apparent but also knows the truth of himself, knows no jealousy. In fact, cannot be jealous. For others, jealousy exists and operates endlessly. Seeing themselves as separate entities, they see the world as filled with countless number of other entities that will daily present opportunities, real or fancied, or for self-demeaning comparative judgments followed by the pain of Matsarya. Sorry. When analyzed, it becomes very clear that jealousy is unfounded and unjustified. At the most elementary level of analysis, I can see that there is no absolute ranking of entities as subject to jealousy or causing jealousy. I am jealous of someone, others are jealous of me. I can also see that there is no one who is an object of absolute jealousy. When I observe people closely, I invariably find things in them I do not want. Those who are jealous of me would also reject many things associated with me. Within the relative framework, jealousy is an illegitimate protest against the nature of apparent reality itself. Jealousy, baseless as it is, nonetheless strikes at the heart of my deep dissatisfaction with myself. My desire to be different, to be full, to be complete. I'll just repeat. Jealousy, baseless as it is, nonetheless strikes at the heart of my deep dissatisfaction with myself. My desire to be different, to be full, to be complete. The undercurrent that always haunts me, the sense that I lack, the need for something to make me complete, the needs feeds the fantasy of jealousy and gives it power to build up in my mind. When I see the illegitimacy of jealousy, my mind will be inclined to pratipaksha bhavana. If the skill or grace or accomplishment of another pierces a barb of matsarya in me, I deliberately bring this thought in my mind. I'm happy to see someone with such excellence. I'm happy to see the happiness of this person. I admire the person. I appreciate the person. By deliberate pratipaksha bhavana, I nip the jealousy in the bud. Pratipaksha bhavana, a daily action. Jealousy, resentment, selfishness, and self-condemnation are only few of the attitudes that can be handled by pratipaksha bhavana. Any attitude that is opposed to equanimity, accommodation, not hurting, absence of pride, and similar values can be neutralized by choosing to entertain the opposite point of view. This should be done daily. Pratipaksha bhavana is a daily act for the mind, just as bathing is for the body. Pratipaksha bhavana at first may seem false, but as they are deliberately done every day, they will become real and spontaneous. A mind kept clean in this manner will be a quiet and alert mind. Such a mind is comfortable with itself, is ready to learn and to be taught.
Okay, yeah, so that this session, this value session was quite straightforward and clear. what is need to be actually what I felt more important when was reading it myself earlier was that more than discussing or understanding this various aspects of these various values that Pujaswami points in this book, more than, yes, that is important, understanding it is important, but that is what we really apply in our lives. If we just read this, understand this, and just go away, then that is not going to help us. So what is more important is practicing all this. Like in this, we have one thing we have to do is to properly understand this and understand the root of our own. When jealousy comes into mind, we can trace its roots into our, as Pujaswamiji says, our basic insecurity with ourselves, our need to be full, different, and I'm basically dissatisfied with myself. That's why I am jealous of someone who I think is better than me. Again, that is very important. Who I think is better than me. Not actually, we cannot actually compare people and say with myself and say that he is better. So there are, as Pujaswamiji points out, there may be qualities in him which I desire, and there may be qualities in him or her which I definitely don't want in my life. So basically, it is more about understanding the root of all these what we call all these pollutions in our mind, and then as Pujaswamiji says, creating the Pratipaksha Bhavana, and even in other case of other values also, cultivating the right value, understanding the roots of the wrong value, where the wrong value comes from, and creating the right the actual values where is more important. So as students of Vedanta, it is more important for us, as without these values, it is no, the Vedanta is not going to work. So yeah, and so this Pratipaksha Bhavana is very important. I think we should also read this ourselves. Apart from reading it, we should also read this ourselves, because only then will we remember to actually apply it in our lives. When a thought comes, like one important thing is that because a jealous thought came, that should not lead us to self-condemnation. That is very important. So I am a jealous person. It has happened to me. I know that jealousy is not a good value or a good thing to have. So when I when I felt jealous, I would be like, oh, I am a jealous person, I have thought very badly of that person, I am so jealous of that person, so how can I be like that, and so on. Then I apart from the jealousy which was already in mind, I add more what ashaucham into my mind through self condemnation. So that should not happen. So we have to take care of all that. So as Pujaswamiji says, we should cultivate these thoughts deliberately and create this Pratipaksha Bhavana to get over the other thoughts. And also condemning, self-condemnation is actually silly, because as Pujaswamiji points out, our body is not responsible for it. Atman can never be responsible for anything. Mind is just a collection of thoughts, and therefore we cannot blame the mind either. Only that particular thought can be blamed. If that thought has to be blamed, then and the thought has to come to counter it. So as Pujaswamiji says, we have to deliberately create such thoughts, and that's the important thing we have to remember from this part. Is there any doubt or anything or any point to make, please? Yeah, it was very clear actually. This particularly this particular value of Saucham was so very clear, and the method of overcoming it also is quite clear. So what we have to do is we have to take these values one by one, and we have to apply in our lives. I think we can have a maybe after doing this value of values, we can have maybe we can keep check on what we applied, and maybe we can give a feedback in some sessions later of what we did with each value, how many values we have started to apply in our lives, and how we are doing it, how much we have progressed, and like that. So any thoughts, or would it be a good point to close? Yeah.
Yeah, that is actually a good idea to come back with, what are the values we are strong at, and which values we are still struggling with. Everybody, I'm
Yeah.
sure, will have a set of values where
Yeah, maybe after this this book is finished, we can do it maybe a week later or something, how much we have progressed and all that.
yeah, it's a kind of success sharing maybe.
Yeah, that would be great. So we can. Is there anything else to share? Any? No. Okay. I guess then we can close off now and meet next week with the next value. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Thank you.
So we have to start with Thairyam, age is 71.
Thank you.
Oh.